Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I am so sorry I'm late. I There were some technical difficulties, and I'm glad I'm back. I am not used to talking using technology, and so I was very confused about a few things. And so a friend has helped me, and I really appreciate that I am now live, and I hope everyone can hear and see me. My name is Shailene Haswari, and I was asked by Brother Alexander to share what Eid is with all of you. I know there have been two other brothers who have shared Ramadan, and so now I have the privilege and pleasure to share Eid with you all. Eid is the day after Ramadan ends, and it is a big celebration. We are celebrating the fact that we have fasted and prayed for the 30 days, and hopefully we've become better people out of it. And so Eid, traditionally, everyone shares gifts, there's festivals, there's food. It's a chance for family and friends to come to get together during the day. I wanted to share a few of my family's converted to Islam. My conversion, and to make another long story short, I put an ad in a Muslim matrimonial website. Rexburg, Idaho, home of BYU, Idaho. So I will I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I am an author of a book called The Hijabi Club, and this is a book. I wanted to write a book for Muslims and non-Muslims to read, and the purpose of the book is for non-Muslims and Muslims to understand each other's faith. It's a teenage novel. And I'm a previous jump rope instructor. Jump rope is my passion. I used to teach jump rope for the local public schools for 5 years. And before COVID, I was doing food demos at Costco, and I really hope to have the job back in September, God willing. So, like I had mentioned before, my first Eid was in 1999, and I was expecting my first son at the time, so I did not fast my first Eid. So instead of fasting, I tried to do a lot of charity work during that time. Ramadan is a great month to do charity and to help anyone in need. And before I got married, I was actually on the national disaster team for the American Red Cross. And instead of going on a disaster, I got married instead. And now it's a joke. A few years ago, my husband said, "Do you regret not going on a disaster before we got married?" I said, "Oh no, we had 5 kids and I got married. I created my own disaster, so it's all good." So it's a family joke. However, who was helping some Kosovar refugees through the American Red Cross. So I was able to, my husband and I hosted the family, and we had them over for Eid. And I enjoyed being able to buy gifts for the kids and to host them for the day. One thing about Eid, a tradition that we have all around the world, is people usually buy new clothes for Eid, and depending on whatever culture you come from, that's usually the kind of dress that you wear. As for example, with my family, we've tried to blend different cultures. My husband is actually Indian, so the first Eid, I actually wanted to get an Indian dress, and my friends told me that to go to this nice Muslim store, and I don't know if you guys are able to see it, but this was the first dress that I wore for my first Eid. And it also came with this really nice scarf with gold embroidery on it. And during Eid, I was all excited to be able to wear my first Eid dress. And the Kosovar family came. And when they came in, I was wearing this really nice. And they obviously couldn't afford to buy new clothes. And so I honestly felt bad that I was dressed up in front of them. The women and children had come into the house, and while my husband and her husband went off to run some errands, she told me in the very English that she knew the suffering that they had at the refugee camp, and how she delivered her fourth child in the camp, and how all the children had lice. And it was just such a heartbreaking story. And here I was wearing a really nice Eid dress, and I I just felt really bad, and it kind of made me, think a lot about the privileges that privileges that I have had. So the next Eid, I actually had our oldest son, and for the next Eid, we actually spent our next Eid in India, and that was the first Ramadan where we were able to fast, and I got this. This is my favorite Indian Eid dress. I got this. This is actually the scarf, or this is the shirt of the Eid dress. To be in my husband's village, and so I decided instead of wearing this Eid, I would wait and wear it for another Eid occasion, instead just dress like how the locals wore dressed during that Eid. And it was a very special Eid, my first Eid, and it was the first time I was outside of the country, so it was, and the first Ramadan where I was able to fast, so it was a very special Ramadan. So years have gone by, and my husband and I have had 5 children. And when Ramadan was during the summer, the kids were a little older, and I had fun going dress shopping with them. So I begged my daughters one year to wear curlers so their hair would look all curly for Eid the next day. And they reluctantly agreed, and I reminded them that they got to pick out their Eid dress, so can you wear curlers for mom? They're like, oh, okay, fine. So I will show you this photo. This was the night before Eid. And if you can't see these photos, I'm going to post some of these on Facebook for everyone to share. And here they are in their curlers. Well, who's ever worn these curlers, you have to sleep in them overnight for them to work. Here's how happy my daughter looked the next day with her bowl of cereal, getting ready for Eid. And this is my other daughter, when she was sleeping. She doesn't look she doesn't look the most comfortable. And here was my daughter when she finally got dressed. Does not look happy that I forced her in those curlers. And my 3 girls right here, some of them do not look impressed that they had to wear the curlers either. And my daughter, oh man, she does not look happy at all. Well, of course, we had to wake up a little late, and I was struggling to get all the curlers out of their hair while my husband was getting the boys ready to go. And I thought to myself, I am never going to force these girls to wear curlers again, because it's a lot of work. They don't like it, and I want our Eids to be a little more enjoyable. So the next year, there was a Chinese store that was going out of business, and they were selling all these children's Chinese outfits for $10. And all my kids said, yes, we would like to wear something different this year. So we all got them some Chinese outfits. And the girls wanted to wear their hair in a bun with chopsticks. And I think this is one of my favorite Eids because it was the less stressful. because I allowed the kids to pick out their clothes fully and how they wanted their hair. And instead of the rush of just getting ready and the girls angry at me for forcing them to wear curlers and me trying to yank out all the curlers before we were late for Eid prayer, this was an awesome Eid. Another tradition that we have had in the past, that my girls and I especially enjoy doing, is we love to make gift bags for everyone for Eid. That is something that we have always enjoyed. And so how I wish I could give all of my viewers a gift bag. So instead, I have made a gift bag for items to show my viewers that represents Eid. So, as the other two brothers talked about a couple of weeks, for the last 2 weeks, they talked about Ramadan, and depending on the country where you're from, especially the iftar, the breaking of the fast, might be different. So one year, I have to share this funny story because there are over 1 billion Muslims in the world. Muslims are all in all different countries of the world. And even though our traditions are very similar of how we celebrate, certain things might be different compared to where you're from. I remember a couple of years ago, I was on Facebook and I was scrolling and I saw an advertisement for a makeup company. I remember there's a beautiful Muslim girl who had this really beautiful eye makeup on, and the caption was, for the makeup company, get ready and be all dressed for your suhoor party. Now, suhoor, for those of you who don't know, that's when we wake up in the middle of the night. So this year we've been waking up at 3:30 where we eat a meal. And I thought to myself, does this makeup company know what they're talking about? Because when me and all the other women I know wake up at 3:30 in the morning preparing meals for our kids and family, the last thing we're worried about is how we look, and we definitely don't put makeup on. So I posted this on Facebook, and all these other Muslim women in the world, in the Middle East and Afghanistan, wrote to me saying, yes, in our countries we do have suhoor parties. We wear beautiful clothes, we wear makeup, and we have nice women's parties where we gather at someone's house and we have a big meal and enjoy that time together. And I thought, wow, totally different from how we have suhoor in America. And I thought, wow, I would love to go to a Muslim country someday to join one of those parties. And another funny tradition that I love to joke about is the different kind of foods we eat. So we have a family friend, and I've asked him, have you ever had root beer? And he said, no, there's alcohol in it. And I laughed and I said, no, root beer has nothing to do with alcohol. It's a popular American drink. And I had to explain to him to the point where, as a joke, he came over and I actually gave him a root beer and that was actually in like what you would call a beer bottle as a joke. So I just wanted to share this. This was also in my bag. This is root beer floats, ice cream sticks. These are my favorite. And sometimes for iftar, breaking of the fast, most people, they'll eat dates. And most people have milk and all other foods depending. That's usually the traditional way universally. But then you can add your own foods. And I really think that Muslim Americans are probably the only Muslims I've ever come across who have root beer floats or any kind of root beer drinks for suhoor, because everywhere else in the world, most people do not. So traditionally, what my family and I have done for Eid is we like to do something where we can help the poor. And this is another item that I've had in my bag. And I am a little embarrassed showing this because although traditionally we have done different things to help the poor, we haven't been consistent and we haven't been able to do it every year. So a couple of years ago, before COVID, we decided that we would make 50 lunch bags and share it after Eid prayer and go around Portland and give it to the homeless people. My husband and I and our 5 kids did that, and it was really special to just kind of share something with other people on our day of celebration. Some of my kids were enthused about it, saying that they wanted to spend their whole day with their cousins. But I said, no, I think we could spend a couple of hours helping other people celebrate Eid. Okay. So our Eid has usually been, we wake up, we get ready for Eid prayer. Sometimes some years have been more chaotic than others, like how I have shown you. And the tradition of sharing food with other people, and we usually go to the park and visit family. And normally we like to get food from outside that during that day, so we don't have to cook. I know other Muslim families, they like to cook big feasts, as in with my family, and most of my sister-in-laws were like, no, we're done cooking for Ramadan. Instead, why don't we support a mom and pop restaurant and go to the park and enjoy it with the family? And that's where we exchange gifts. We usually give gift bags. And I kind of laugh because traditionally in America, for example, when people celebrate Christmas, they usually have a Christmas budget. As in with us, it's like the kids get different gifts every year. So what I like to do is take the kids somewhere, like horseback riding or some fun activity as an Eid gift instead of actually giving them something. As in when they were younger, we got more gifts, and I kind of laughed because one year my husband bought, this is another item in my bag to show, this is part of a Mindstorm. So one year my husband got Mindstorms for all of the kids as an Eid gift. And it was 5 Mindstorms for 5 kids. Fun gift. And then the next year, he got them a headlamp. And I laughed because there was such a contrast between a gift. It's like he went from a Mindstorm to a headlamp. But the kids loved it and didn't expect anything big, so that just totally worked out and was awesome. And again, like I said, we like to dress in different clothes. We did a Chinese theme one year, and then another year, I got this other really beautiful Eid dress from a friend who didn't want her her Indian clothes anymore, and I thought she was crazy for giving them all to me, although I did appreciate the dress, and I told her if she ever wants them back to let me know. So the dress is a really big part of it, just sharing your culture. And what I love so much is during Eid prayer, we actually live in Portland, Oregon. So we go to this big convention center, and what's so beautiful about it is you have people from all over the world dressed according to where they're from. And you have all these beautiful colors of clothes, and it's just been such a wonderful tradition. I actually just love just going to the convention center just to see what everyone else is wearing that day. So it's just so beautiful. So Ramadans have been pretty much like that. And then COVID happened last year. And last year was probably the most special COVID that I've experienced. Still busy with our everyday lives. We fast during the day, but kids have to go to school, people have to go to work, and we still have our usual everyday routine, and we're fasting. And then on the weekends we can kind of take it easy and kind of be together as a family. But last year when COVID happened, my kids didn't have school. My husband was working from home, and I got laid off from my demo job at Costco. And I will say that was probably the most special Ramadan that my family and I have had, because a whole month we got to be together as a family. And when we woke up for suhoor, we were able to just breathe and just relax and eat and maybe watch a family film and not worry about, oh, hurry and go back to sleep so we can go to school, or so we have to go to work. It was just very calm and relaxing. And I started a new tradition, my own personal tradition. I love to scrapbook. That is another thing that I love doing. And I was actually able to finish my daughter's scrapbooks, my last two daughters. I did one for my first three kids, and I felt so guilty that I hadn't done one for the younger two, that I was just able to work on a hobby that I was 14 years behind. And during that time, I told the kids, we're not going to have the regular Eid this year. We can't go to the convention center. We're not going to buy new clothes if we're not going to go to the convention center for Eid. We're just going to take it easy. So my youngest daughter, Fatima, she made her own piñata, and she said that that's how they were going to celebrate Eid, by breaking a piñata. And here is a photo of the broken piñata and all the candy from Costco that came out of it. And I will say that being a parent, Eid mornings can be truly chaotic, especially when the kids are younger and you're dividing up kids, you and your husband dividing up kids, trying to get them ready to go, and it's crazy, and you're running out of time because you want to get to Eid prayer on time. But last Eid, we were able to sleep in. My kids So it's a little different now, and they can get themselves ready. And so it's different that this last we had to stay home. We were creative and enjoyed staying home with the family. And this Ramadan has also been wonderful because, again, my kids are still at home because of COVID. And so I'm still at home too. My husband's working from home, and we've been really enjoying this time. And I do feel that after this Ramadan and after this Eid, just knowing that next year I will be back to normal, and of course we all need our whole world to be normal. I know that I will forever remember these two Ramadans that I've had with my family in the house, where we were able to enjoy it together without having to worry about the outside of school and work. So yes, so this year, this Ramadan, I'm kind of working on a couple of scrapbooks. So it's been another nice Ramadan, and with making a lot of food, and we still don't know what we're going to do yet for Eid this year. But I do know it's not going to be at the convention center because of COVID, and we'll probably meet at a park with family like how we normally do. So, and also another thing is my girls especially have become very creative during Ramadan this year, and my oldest daughter, who is a senior in high school this year, came up with her own sticker business. So these are the stickers that she has created for Eid. It says Eid Mubarak on it. And I told my daughter, I said, well, why don't you also make stickers for not just Muslims to enjoy, but also for non-Muslims to enjoy too. So she came up with this really cute sticker idea and again, I'll post these on Facebook so people can see better, where you have the name in English and the name in Arabic with some animals. So it's kind of nice for kids love to see their names in different languages. So she came up with this really awesome idea. So everyone can enjoy something. It doesn't matter what religion you are. So, and a new tradition this year, because of COVID, I was one of those parents who said, I am never buying a Nintendo for my kids because I'm not a disciplined parent enough to say, okay, you can only have a few minutes. I know I'd just be like, okay, whatever. So I was me who wasn't disciplined to of myself where I was comfortable with getting a Nintendo, but because of COVID, I actually decided to buy a Nintendo Switch. And this has been my new Ramadan tradition this year. Last year during COVID, I was not exercising. That's one thing I regretted during Ramadan, because if you're I have decided to do kickboxing in the evening, which has just been really great instead of just eating food and being in the house all day and not exercising at all. So I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to share my family's tradition with you. I really hope that everything gets back to normal and that we can all start seeing each other again after COVID. And yes, in my family, we've had Eids that have not been the greatest in the mornings, like a lot of families. And it can be stressful trying to yank out curlers from your daughter's hair so you can get to eat on time, and then the girls being angry at you for the rest of the day because they hate the curlers and they don't care about their curly hair. Or my boys who, like, I want them to, smile for the camera before Eid, and they like to goof off. I have all these goofy photos of my boys. But at the end of the day, after Eid prayer, and we all get together as a family, we hug each other and we say Eid Mubarak, and we've forgotten about the stress of the morning. And you realize what's really important in life, that sometimes, curlers aren't the best ideas. But you can do things simple, and you don't have to go out and be perfect, and you can just wear regular Eid dresses without making so much of an effort to have a really good day. And I want to thank you all for spending the evening with me, and as part of the interfaith community in Portland, I would also love to know about all of your traditions. And if there is anything that you would like to know more about Eid, or about Islam in general, or about Ramadan, please feel free to friend me on Facebook, and I will answer all of your questions. Thanks again for everything. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, brothers and sisters. Have a wonderful evening. Exit out of the way. Shh. They can hear you. Okay. Oh.